Did you know that a religious group in Texas faced an intense siege by federal agents that lasted 51 days? Join us as we explore this shocking and tragic event that changed the course of American history. On a hilltop in McLennan County, Texas, a group known as the Branch Davidians lived in a compound called Mount Carmel Center. This religious sect had its roots in a split from the Shepherd's Rod, which itself came from the Seventh-day Adventist Church in 1955. Led by David Koresh, the Branch Davidians believed fervently in an imminent apocalypse. Koresh, born Vernon Wayne Howell, attracted followers with his charismatic personality and his claims of being a prophetic figure with divine insights into the Bible. The group had a close-knit community, with many members connected by family ties and shared beliefs. They lived a lifestyle that included farming and trading at gun shows, maintaining cordial relations with local residents. However, things started to change as Koresh's teachings became more radical and controversial, particularly regarding his beliefs concerning marriage and family life. As tensions rose, the outside world took notice of the Branch Davidians. In February 1993, a series of investigative articles titled "The Sinful Messiah" was published in the Waco Tribune-Herald, alleging serious crimes like child abuse and illegal weapons possession against Koresh and his followers. The articles painted a grim picture of life inside the compound. Reacting to these alarming claims, the Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, Firearms, and Explosives, ATF, began surveilling the compound. They gathered evidence that the Branch Davidians were stockpiling weapons, leading them to seek a search warrant for the facility and arrest warrants for Koresh and others. However, the ATF's operation was set into motion without the element of surprise. A local news reporter tipped off the Branch Davidians about the raid, causing them to arm themselves in anticipation. This loss of tactical advantage set the stage for the tragic events that would unfold shortly after. On February 28, 1993, the ATF arrived at the Mount Carmel Center compound early in the morning to execute the planned raid. Dressed in tactical gear, they positioned themselves outside the compound, ready to assert authority and serve their warrants for David Koresh and several of his followers. Unfortunately for the ATF, their plan had already been compromised. A local reporter's tip-off ensured that the Branch Davidians were fully armed and prepared for the impending raid, creating an atmosphere of volatility and fear. As the raid commenced, an intense firefight broke out, filled with chaos and confusion. The sound of gunfire echoed in the air as both sides exchanged fire, resulting in a tragic loss of life. The shootout resulted in the deaths of 4 ATF agents and 6 Branch Davidians, marking a significant escalation in the already tense situation. Emergency calls were made as authorities sought to manage the unexpected violence erupting on their doorstep. Following the violent encounter, the FBI took charge of the situation and established negotiations with Koresh and his followers inside the compound. A team of negotiators began reaching out to resolve the conflict peacefully while assessing the possibilities of a safe resolution. Despite negotiations, the situation became prolonged and complex. Koresh would only communicate sporadically, often presenting scripture-based arguments, making it difficult for the FBI's negotiation team to establish a clear line of communication. As days turned into weeks, the standoff continued, with Koresh insisting that he was waiting for divine instructions before leaving the compound. Each passing day increased the stakes as fatigue and fear took their toll on both sides. As the standoff extended into the 51st day, the pressure from both sides intensified. The FBI began to implement more aggressive negotiation tactics, including psychological operations that involved broadcasting loud sounds and music to disrupt the Branch Davidians' effort to maintain their morale. Negotiators were carefully managing their communication with Koresh, who continued to articulate his views on faith and survival. A perceived breakthrough occurred when he agreed to release certain children from the compound in exchange for a radio address, which he claimed was needed for his divine mission. Despite small victories, Koresh's negotiations frequently stalled. He would cite scriptural reasons for his behavior, leading to frustration among agents seeking practical solutions. As the time stretched on and conditions inside the compound began to deteriorate, the FBI decided to take a more drastic approach. Reports of child abuse within the compound raised concerns, further justifying their need to act before a critical breaking point was reached. On April 19, 1993, a decision was made to proceed with an aggressive tactical approach involving the use of tear gas. The FBI believed that this would compel the Branch Davidians to exit the compound without further loss of life. As the gas attack commenced, chaos erupted within the Mount Carmel Center. Fire began to spread rapidly, engulfing the compound in flames, and panic ensued as members inside struggled to escape. In the tragic aftermath, 76 Branch Davidians lost their lives, including many children. The FBI's actions drew intense scrutiny and sparked debates regarding law enforcement procedures and the appropriate use of force. In the days following the tragic events at Mount Carmel, the impact of the Waco siege echoed throughout the nation. News outlets reported the chaos and controversy surrounding the standoff, capturing the public's attention and sparking widespread debate about law enforcement tactics and religious freedoms. As the public digested the chilling reports, the criticisms of the FBI's methods intensified. Many questioned the reasoning and execution behind the tear gas attack, leading to calls for investigations into the federal response during the standoff. In Congress, hearings were held to investigate the actions of the ATF and FBI during the siege. Lawmakers sought to understand the series of decisions that led to the confrontation, hoping to prevent a similar situation from recurring. Despite the intense scrutiny, public opinion remained divided. Some saw the FBI's actions as justified due to child safety concerns, while others believed freedoms of religion and personal rights were violated during the siege. Legal battles arose as survivors and family members of those who died began to file lawsuits against the federal government for wrongful death and excessive use of force. The ensuing cases brought attention to the legal ramifications of the siege and the complexities of law enforcement authority. Eventually, the government's actions were largely deemed justified by the courts. However, the controversy over the handling of the Waco siege remained a point of debate within American society. The event not only altered public perception of federal agencies, but also raised questions about individual liberties, gun rights, and religious freedoms. The Waco siege also influenced extremist groups and individuals. Timothy McVeigh cited it as a primary motivation for the Oklahoma City bombing, which occurred just 2 years later, emphasizing how deeply the events at Waco resonated in the national consciousness.